In this clip from a recent CRA client webinar, Director at the CRA, Dr. John Endres, looks at the reasons behind load shedding as well as the outlook for the coming months for what load shedding could have in store for us. Dr. Endres also looks at business confidence measured by the Business Confidence Index. We hope you enjoy.
And we can also go to the Eskom weekly status, system status reports, which forecast what Eskom thinks is going to happen with electricity supply and demand a year in advance. And if you run those numbers a little bit, it allows you to estimate where load shedding is going to be through the rest of the year. There's something called a planned scenario where our load shedding stages look something like this. This is where Eskom estimates that 15,000 megawatts of capacity will go missing due to unplanned outages all the way through to about November. And after that, they see the unplanned outages dropping to 13,000 megawatts. And so you can see that the load shedding, if that comes to fruition as expected, is going to drop from an average between stages 2 and 4 for the next few months down to stages 0 to 2. If you look to the end of the graph, however, you see quite a steep spike. That appears to be because Eskom is forecasting higher demand for winter next year, so even higher than this year, which may be a reflection of hope that the economy will grow. And secondly, they're also forecasting more planned maintenance than for this year. And for those two reasons, they are anticipating, it appears, higher load shedding stages about a year out from now. There's also something called the likely scenario, which is where Eskom says, okay, we're going to assume 15,000 megawatts will be out of commission, but let's just add another 10% on top of that because you never know what's going to happen. And if you do that, then the load shedding looks like this. It moves quite closely in lockstep. So between stages 4 and 5, which is what we have been experiencing for most of this year, peaking into stage 6, and then declining as those 3 units at Kusile Power Station come back on from November, if everything goes according to plan. See load shedding coming down to between stages 2 and 4, but then out towards the end of this projection period, which is the middle of next year, we see these spikes which go up to stage 7, stage 8, and even stage 9 during one of those weeks. I'm not entirely convinced that Eskom has done this forecast. Translating the forecast into load shedding stages, but we are going to inquire with them about this, whether that is what they're actually anticipating is going to happen, because that does seem to be quite rough, especially heading into the elections. So certainly this is not something that the incumbent would like to see. Intense stages of load shedding just before the election, that's not ideal. So I think we're going to see some revision of these numbers, and we'll see these stages dropping back down as the next few system status reports come out. Okay, but as you can imagine, this kind of load shedding does have its impact on the economy. The economy can't grow properly if there's not enough power. And we've also seen that whenever the economy tried to grow a little bit, load shedding would kick in at higher stages and immediately cancel that growth. And the upshot of that is that South Africa now finds itself in the longest downturn in the business cycle on record. This is an indicator that the South African Reserve Bank generates from a whole bunch of statistics, leading, coincident, and lagging indicators to figure out if the economy is in an upswing or downturn. We are now very deep in a downturn at 114 months and counting. But also it's worth noting that after the transition to democracy after 1994, we also had the longest upswing that we've ever recorded in South Africa's history, with the data going back to 1945, which was those 99 months between September 1999 and November 2007. But at the moment, it's a downswing. The economy really isn't growing properly, and I think you'll be familiar with that feeling from reading the press, from your business interactions with clients, with suppliers, etc., etc. That seems to be what's going on at the moment. This is also casting a certain spell over business confidence, of course. What I'm showing you here is the RMB BER business confidence indicator going back to 2007 to 2023. And the important line to keep in mind here is this black line at 50. So the way this indicator works is that whenever the number is below 50, it means that business confidence is weak. And when the indicator is above 50, it means that business confidence is high, is more likely to lead to investment, to more employment, to growth, et cetera, et cetera. But the concerning feature on this chart really is that since 2008, there hasn't been any year where business confidence has been above that threshold, that 50 mark, and that is reflective of the fact that our investment hasn't been very strong, our growth hasn't been very strong, and our job creation also has not been strong for over a decade.
Thank you very much for watching. If you are not yet a subscriber to the CRA's YouTube channel, we invite you to click on the red button below, and you can get notifications as well for all of our upcoming videos. We also invite you, if you are not yet, to become a client of the CRA. You can find information at the link in the description below. Until next time, this has been Chris Hutton for the Center for Risk Analysis. Take care.